Good morning, folks. Welcome back to the farm here. We're having some great weather here in central Nebraska. Unseasonably warm this time of year. A lot of the snow's melting. And we're going to get out in the shop and do some work today. So come along with us. You can see the snow is melting fast. This big 3-foot drift here in the back of the house is down to about 6 inches. No snow in the front. The sun is burning through. We've had some really foggy nights and mornings, but the sun's burning through today. We're supposed to have 63 degrees tomorrow. It's going to be pretty crazy. Even the snow on the north side of the shop, which takes a long time to go away, it's all gone. All we have is where we had the giant pile down here in that big 8-foot drift. So let's get out in the shop and fire the wood stove up and get busy on our little project. Alright, we got a roaring fire going in the wood stove. That'll warm things up in here a little bit. We got cubby all covered up because I don't want to get any dust on our new paint and stuff that we got going on. We got some welding to do. So what we're doing is we're building a custom branding iron for some friends of mine out in California. Eugene and Kelly have a little homestead they're putting together out there. And they're going to raise some cattle and need a brand for their cattle. They came up with a design and they submitted it and got it approved. So now they need a branding iron made, and they reached out to me to make it because they know I do some metal stuff. So let me show you what we're making. This is the design they came up with. I don't know what it all means, but this is what it'll look like on the animal. So we're looking at it from the back. So we'll build this branding iron from the top, looking in this same orientation, and then the bottom obviously will be backwards, but that's the way we'll build it. It's 6 inches tall, 3 inches wide, with this half circle doodad on the bottom. I've got some flat iron for all these pieces, and I have some 2-inch pipe that we'll use for this piece here. We'll cut it in half. We'll make all of our cuts here on our metal bandsaw, and then we can start welding this thing together. Alright, we set us up a little welding station here in the vise. I put a piece of scrap metal in here and then took the paint off so we can get a good ground on here with the welder. My welding table is covered with hit and miss parts that are in a certain order, so I need to get that put back together so I can have my welding table back. But we're going to start cutting pieces for our branding iron. So the first piece I'm going to cut is this half round piece here, and we've got this piece of 2-inch pipe that we're going to use, and I don't want it to be any more than, let's see here, this is 2 inches, so this is 1 inch here, 2 inch here. So this is only going to be just a little over 1 inch wide. So I need to take this piece of pipe. It's already got a slit cut here, but I want to cut this way first on the pipe before we cut it this way, because it'll be a lot easier while it's still in one piece to make this cut. And then we'll put it in our metal bandsaw to make the cross cut. So it needs to be, once we cross cut it, 1.5 inches tall to match the 1.5 inches of this. And then I'll figure out where I need to make this cut. All right, we have our vertical cuts in that, so now we're going to take it to the saw and cut sideways. Okay, we got this piece cut. Now I'm going to cut this long piece, which is going to be exactly 6 inches long. Okay, now we're going to cut this piece, which is 2 inches, but because of the vertical piece and this being 1/4 inch material, we're going to cut this at 1.75 inches, and that way it won't be over 2 inches over here, because we're going to butt it up against the other one. All right, got this piece cut. So now I want to cut these inside pieces because we want them at 2 inches. These are 1 inch long here. We're going to cut these at 3/4, and then these will be cut the full 1 inch. We'll go ahead and cut all 4 of those right now, and then all our pieces for the actual iron will be cut. Okay, we got all our pieces cut. Looks pretty good, but I'm going to check with my buddy. This thing looks kind of elongated, which is what we got out of the dimensions, but I'm thinking it would look better if it was maybe a little bit squattier, like to bring these pieces up. Let's move these up a little bit, like that. Something similar to that. Move this up to about there, and then make it shorter. So if you can see, that would look a little bit neater than the big long thing that we're working on here. So I'm going to give my buddy a call and see if that's a possibility, because I think it would look a lot better. Well, I was unable to get a hold of him, but looking at the document that he sent me, which is an official deal from whoever okayed the brand, it's got to be that elongated shape. So we're going to go ahead and stay with that. So we're going to clean these parts up a little bit, get the little nubs taken off of them, and clean the rust off of that piece of half pipe, and then we can start welding this thing together. Okay, we're ready to start welding together. Now this piece and the top piece, we know exactly where they go. So we're going to start with those, and then we'll locate these other pieces in the middle once we get those attached. Now starting, I'm just going to tack them here on the top, and then I can tweak the bottoms around, make sure they're square and everything before we get a tack down on the other side. And then we'll start welding everything together. Okay, we got our welder set on 1/4 inch material is what we're using. We've got our gas bottle turned on, so we can start putting this together. I'm going to get some anti-spatter and spray our work surface here, so as we weld, the little dingleberries that come off won't stick to my little work surface here. Okay, we've got our end pieces welded on. So we need to locate this piece. So I figured I'd just put it halfway in between this point and this point, which is right there, about 1 3/4 from the edge. Should be about 4 inches from the bottom. So we'll double check that. And then we'll get these pieces welded in. I'm just using my little welding magnet here to hold them vertical so we can get them tacked. Got our 2 wings welded on. We're not welding clear to the bottom because we want that profile to stay nice and clean. So we're going to use our magnet, get our little ends put on our wings here, get those all squared up. We'll do both sides, and then the main part of the iron will be done. Okay, we got our wings welded on. Remember, they're just tacked on the top side. This one on this other side looks fairly well, but this side we're going to have to tap over just a little bit to get it centered. But that's why we only welded the top. And then once we get this tacked on this side, we'll be able to weld it up. Okay, we got her all welded up. There's no warping. Everything looks good, nice and straight. The underside looks nice and clean. It's what we did by design. We only welded partially way down there because you don't want to blur the edges of that on the other side. So I'm going to get this cleaned up, knock all the berries off of it, and round off any corners because you don't want any sharp corners. And then we'll get a handle made for this brand. Okay, we got her all cleaned up. That's what she looks like on the front side, nice and clean. And then that's the way it'll be branded onto the animal. So let's get a handle put on here. And then once we get a handle put on, we'll put the handle right in the middle, and then we have to put bracing up to the handle from these outer points because this is going to be heated up almost red hot, and we don't want things to move around on here. This is what we're going to use for a handle. This 1/2 inch cold rolled. It'll be eventually welded on the back here. But I want to do something kind of fancy on the end to give them something to hang on to so it's not just a straight rod. We're going to tie a knot in this metal. We'll show you how to do it. Now that we've got our knot most of the way through, we weld a chain link on either end of our handle, and then we're going to use our hoist here. We're going to chain it down to here and chain it to here, and then as we heat all this around here, we're going to pull either direction and it'll tighten our knot. Okay, we've got our knot done. Be a good handhold on the end there. And then we just cut it off on the end. So now we can cut this chain link off this end and weld it to our branding iron. Got our main handle welded. Now we need to cut some pieces to reinforce all the outer edges. Got our braces on. Now we just need to clean those up. And then we need to make some cuts on the front side that we'll tell you about here in a second. Got our iron cleaned up pretty good. We're not going to paint it or anything because this is going to go in fire eventually. Now the specs that my friend sent me, they call for relief cuts to be made in the brand, so there's not so much mass where the things meet. So they want to cut through about 1/8 of an inch on some of these intersections, so the edge of the brand, when it's branded on the animal, doesn't get all blurred. It makes more of a defined line. And they sent a diagram on how to do it, so we'll make those cuts real quick. Okay, there's where they wanted all the relief cuts. One on this end, both of these connections here, and then across these here, and then right here. So we're all done. What do you say we heat this thing up and make a brand? Well, folks, I would call that success. The ends didn't get overcharred in the corners. It didn't blur. Perfect. Now, I actually have the branding irons that were used on this ranch back in the day when they ran cattle. Let me show you those. Now, the brand on this ranch was a Diamond 7. The 7 was right on the bottom of the diamond like that. It consisted of actually 2 irons. And then this is the cow iron. There was also some calf irons that were smaller, but the gentleman that used to own this place, I gave one set, the small calf irons, to one of his sons when he was out here because he was wanting that set of branding irons for sentimental purposes. So we actually gave them up. Had no problem doing that. We really love the gentleman that used to own this place. His name's Leland, and his family's really great. They actually had Leland's birthday party out here the year we bought the place. The whole family come out. It was pretty cool. All right, let's get this buttoned up. Okay, folks, there's our branding iron. All done. Hope you enjoyed our little shop project out here. We really enjoyed coming back out to the shop. I don't know if this warm weather is going to hold out, though, because winter's certainly not all the way over, but we enjoyed it. So Eugene and Kelly, your brand is on the way. We'll get it shipped out to California. I got to take off because I'm working snack bar at the basketball game tonight up at the school, so got to go help with that. So till next time, stay safe, stay healthy. We love you guys. Come back and see us here at Markelly Farm.